All right, I think we are live. Should be queuing up for folks any second now. Um, Welcome. My name is Andrew. I work at Galoy. I'm standing in for Ed and John's on this episode of Tokens on Bitcoin for Legends of Lightning. I think Ed and John's were in a boating accident, so I'll step in. Well, I've got first comment from Christoph. Looks like we're go. Looks like we're good to go. So yeah, it's an exciting week. We've heard from Taro. We're about to hear about Stablesats, and I think tomorrow there's a Twitter space. So I'm not going to do too much more preamble. I will get out of the way and let Nicolas walk us through what Stablesats is, how to build on it, what's the vision for it, and for anybody with questions, just drop them into the YouTube chat, and we'll kind of cover those once we get through sort of the initial upfront. Happy to answer any questions during. So let me see if I can bring up the presentation here, and then I'm going to get myself out of the way and let Nicolas go. Nicolas, please, welcome.
All right, thank you for having me. So I will talk about Stablesats, which in one sentence is a synthetic USD tool to lower the volatility for people that want to use Lightning, but don't necessarily or can't necessarily afford the volatility of Bitcoin. So I will go over a few topics. I will start with just a quick introduction about Galoy and the Bitcoin Beach wallet. Then I will explain why USD or Lightning is even an idea to think about. I will go over the different options for volatility protection that is at our disposal. Then we will dive into how Stablesats actually works, and I will close with the different way to be involved as a developer with Stablesats. So a quick introduction about Galoy and Bitcoin Beach Wallet. Galoy is a company that is developing open source software for Bitcoin. We have been building a wallet called the Bitcoin Beach Wallet since 2020. We are currently a team of 21. We think 21 is a good number, so I think we're staying there around the world. The largest feature we are working on this year in our wallet, in our project, is Stablesats. If you want to get involved or know more about what we do at Galoy, you can join chat.galoy.io on our MetaMask or on our GitHub. It's github.com/galoymoney. A quick overview of the Bitcoin Beach wallet, what it is. So it's a wallet where the user don't have access to the key. It's a custodial wallet, but with the option to have a multi-sig in the backend, such that the Bitcoin will not be owned by a single person, but they can be spread around the community by different key holder. While it started in El Donte in El Salvador, the wallet is currently used in other places, specifically in Latin America. So in Peru and Guatemala, for instance, there is large community using the wallet as well. You can find the wallet in the App Store if you look for Bitcoin Beach Wallet, or visit bbw.sv. The wallet is available almost everywhere, but not in every jurisdiction. For instance, it's not available in the US for compliance reason. There are features in the wallet for commerce that are useful, like LN address or LN cash register. The idea of the cash register is that if you're a restaurant owner, for instance, you can share a link to your employee, and then you have a receive on the wallet, so that every employee can receive money for Lightning, but they cannot spend the money from the wallet. We also have a printable QR code, which is in the form of LN URL. We have a few screenshots here about the wallet. So the first functionality of the wallet is, I think it's quite obvious. It's to send and receive money over either on-chain or Lightning. We can also transact in what we say intra-ledger. So if I have a Bitcoin Beach wallet and I'm transacting with someone that have a Bitcoin Beach wallet, I can send money to his username. And so we can also save the contact. Right now the contact are only for Bitcoin Beach wallet, but we want to also have an updated version when we can transact with people that have a LN address, and so we want to store that also. We have some functionality in the wallet like earn sats to learn. So if you answer some quiz question, you get a few sats, or you have also a merchant map, which is very useful to develop the idea of community and circular economy with Bitcoin. We have here probably the most done slide of our presentation. It describes a little bit what Galoy is, a tech stack, what it's about, and what we are developing. So if you look at the, I don't know if my, I think my mouse can be seen, but we have some front-end application and an admin panel for the personas that we call the bank owner to manage the system. We are developing a GraphQL API interface with 3 core products, like a core ledger, which is a double entry accounting system, a Lightning Gateway, and Stablesats. And we also use a lot of other open source software like LND and BitcoinD and multisig with Spectre and some authentication stack. And so, yeah, this is what Galoy is developing in a nutshell. We also have some services that we offer to company, whether it's integration to our CI/CD pipeline, so that we can help company to deploy software on a continuous basis. And some community bank also needs some fiat integration system or some compliant integration, and so it's something we can also help with. If you have any questions, I'm happy to dive into this later, but the goal of the presentation is really to focus on Stablesats. And so let's talk about the option for volatility protection. I'll first start by sharing an experience about the Bitcoin Beach wallet. That the very first version that was, I don't know, 2.5 years ago now, it just have sats in the wallet. There was no dollar whatsoever, because the idea was like, hey, we're trying to develop a circular economy with Bitcoin, so why don't we need dollar in the wallet? And the very first feedback I received is that if you just have sats, people don't know how to use it because there need to be a conversion to the wallet from, okay, I need to pay Pulsar for $5. I need to be able to say, okay, I want to send sats, but the equivalent of $5, and I should not have to use a calculator or something outside of that to do it. And so this was very much the first feature that we added to the wallet, is like a conversion at the time of payment. But the point here is that this was the first feature, but then the following feature after that was like, okay, no, sure, I receive $5, but if my balance, is showing $4 in the next week, basically I am in trouble a little bit, because now I don't have enough money to pay my supplier, and so I can't really afford the volatility of Bitcoin. And the main takeaway here is that if you can afford to wait, like if you have extra saving and you don't have to spend your Bitcoin, then it's great. Volatility is great, because of course, to go from zero to hyper Bitcoinization and using Bitcoin as a world reserve currency, like they need to be a lot of volatility to get there. And so volatility is your friend, right? It's helping Bitcoin to grow in value. But if you're intending to spend Bitcoin, you receive it and you spend it the next week, and you don't have extra savings, then if there is a 20% price drop, it's an issue. And so since the last 2 years, one of the most recurrent feedback is that, okay, Lightning is great, it's permissionless, it's awesome, but is there a way to hedge for the short term so that like I can still receive money over Lightning, but after I receive it, I still have the same amount of dollar. So this is a whole context about why we have been working on Stablesats for quite a bit. And when you think about, okay, how can I reduce volatility? I mean, first way is that, okay, I can maybe just say I receive Bitcoin and I sell it for $1, and I have my dollar in the bank account, which is one way to think about it. It's what Strike is doing, for instance. And another option would say, okay, I can maybe, instead of selling for $1, I would sell it for USDT. It's another option. But in both those options, something that is quite key is the fact that whether you have dollar in your bank account or your stablecoin, in both cases, you have a strong dependency on the current banking system, because in the first case you have yourself a bank account. The second say the issuer have a bank account, and so you're still very bound by the current banking system. And there is some issue with stablecoin, the regulatory aspect I just talked about, and there is more scrutiny now with Terra collapse that happened maybe 6 months ago, and some issue with the stablecoin is that maybe I have USDT over Tron, and I want to send to someone that have a wallet, but it's only wallet on Ethereum, then it doesn't work, right? I cannot cross protocol send money. Or maybe I have USDT over Ethereum, but someone is trying to send me USDC over Ethereum, and it doesn't work as well. Like there is no interoperability really with stablecoin. And also the fee is a big issue with those protocol. Like there is a ways to use protocols that are more scalable, but also less secure. The first stablecoin start with Bitcoin, but then the fee on Bitcoin was too high, so it moved to Ethereum. The fee on Ethereum was too high, it moved to Tron, and there is a ways to like going for platforms that are more scalable, but also less secure as a result. So if you compare Taro as a solution that is coming to the market also, and packaging stablecoin in a Taro, it's solve the interoperability and the fee issues, because now we're saying, okay, we're really going to use Lightning as the shedding point for payment. And so, whether eventually I'm storing USDT in my wallet, if I do a payment, I'm converting this to Lightning, then there is no more interoperability issue. There is less so fees issue. But of course, the regulatory aspect is still here, assuming there is a stablecoin issuer. The stablecoin issuer still need to have a banking access. And so we're thinking also about Tero and Stablesats. Like many people ask us, okay, what's the difference? And the way I think about it on my end, like there are two different type of technology, and they are very complementary. The way I think about Taro is a way to package assets into Bitcoin and Lightning. So it could be stablecoin, but it could be any other type of asset. We could have like Apple stock into Taro assets, I believe. But I believe the go-to-market right now is we'll say, okay, what is most needed is dollar equivalent on Lightning. So let's focus on that. Stablesats on the other hand is a way to create a new type of asset, which is a synthetic USD. I will go into how this works later in the presentation. But the key idea here is that we could eventually have packaging Stablesats into Taro. So Stablesats will be the asset, creating synthetic USD, and then it could be tokenized with Taro. It's something that could be done. I don't think there is anyone yet that I start working on that, but I could see the value of it. And if free hackathon idea, if anyone wants to work more into this, I think that would be a great project. So to go a bit deeper about synthetic USD, first, this is not a new idea. This is, if you look about the history of BitMEX really start with this idea of, hey, let's create a derivative exchange, and maybe we'll enable synthetic USD on our platform. There are many writing from Arthur in 2015 that talk about that go pretty deep into this idea. But interestingly, it's never took off, from my understanding. BitMEX really took off with more like the people doing degen trading, not hedging, which is pretty much the opposite. But I think now the reason it is starting to take off is because now we have Lightning, and when we combine synthetic USD with Lightning, we have something very powerful. All right, so synthetic USD as another type of, I guess, asset that we could use to stabilize sats. The way to think about it is instead of having a bank, or an issuer in the picture, we have an exchange, and the exchange will be typically a derivative exchange. It can be an exchange in the US, but typically it may be an exchange that is not necessarily in the US, and the exchange doesn't need any banking access, which is, I think, the key point here is that Currently we are using OKX, but we are also working to integrate with Collider as with implementation and some other exchange eventually in the future. Those section doesn't have banking access, and therefore there is less or no reliance on the traditional system, like with stablecoin and dollar. All right, let's dive a little bit into how Stablesat works. If there is any question, feel free to ask in the chat, and I will be happy to answer it. We'll start with maybe a very practical demo. So let me share my phone. I need a minute here.
Let me, I'll hop back on here, Javier, while you get that set up. Handing out free hackathon project ideas. I like it. Taro, Stablesats collab. There actually is a couple ideas kicking around, one of them being Collider and Stablesats. So look at makers.bolt.fun to look through the projects and hop in the Discord chat as well. It's pretty awesome to see all the people joining and all the projects coming out. I'm pretty excited. We've got some team members keeping an eye on there and getting project ideas in.
All right, so here is how Stablesats works. So I can receive, this is a Bitcoin Beach wallet. And here I can say, okay, I can receive over the Bitcoin wallet, but here I will say, okay, I'm receiving over the USD wallet. Let's say I'm receiving, I don't know, 50 cents. I think there is a lag in the stream, so maybe undo if you want to pay for it. If you're still around. Okay, so 50 sats paid, thank you. And so now I can see, okay, I receive 50 cents and it go to my USD wallet. And maybe if someone can share me a Lightning invoice, undo if you have the ability to show me the QR code, then I can pay it.
I think I can get one on screen if you want to pay it.
Yeah. Let me scan it. Oops. All right. So thank you. So I scan the invoice. I know this is a key aspect. Okay, I have a Lightning invoice that I scan, and I can pay either over Bitcoin or over USD. And so I can say, okay, I will send you $1. And I click next, and I confirm the payment. And payment has been sent. And the key aspect is that I sent over Lightning to from my dollar account, and there is an automatic conversion that has been done. Right. If you have any question, feel free to ask questions in the chat, but otherwise I will continue my presentation.
You can send from the USD account, you can receive to the USD account, and you can transfer between the BTC and USD accounts. Thank you.
All right, so how Stablesats works? So Stablesats enable Bitcoin and Lightning user to hold, send, and receive dollar without the use of stablecoin or fiat integration. It's interoperable with Lightning, and it abstracts all the complexity from the user. Currently, the solution being custodial, like there is I guess a third party, like what we call the bank owner that is doing the hedging, but it's possible to run Stablesats on your own computer and doing this, on your own, doing the hedging on your own. So let's go into the way of how this works. So let's imagine Alice have 1 million sats in her wallet, and she starts with $0. And she's transferring maybe a portion of it from her Bitcoin account to her USD account. And so now she's effectively selling 400K sats, and she have $120. And this is where there is an exchange that is being made by the Bitcoin Bank. The moment Alice moved 400k sats to a USD account, the bank opened a short position to hedge against change in exchange rate. The balance that Alice have after her transfer is she have 600k sats and $120. So now what happened to Alice's money when the Bitcoin exchange rate moves? And how does the bank not lose money? So here is how this works. So let's assume that the price when when Alice did her transaction was 30k. And now the price crashes, oh my God, 50%. What happened to Alice wallet? She still has 600,000 sats. Now the value of the sats in dollar are half, so it goes from $180 to $90. And she also have still $120 in her USD account. And the value of the sats have doubled. But the point is that she has the same number of sats for BTC account and the same number of dollar for a dollar account. So when the price go down in Bitcoin, this is what the bank P&L look like on the bottom end here. Because the price, so the bank have $120 in Bitcoin, and because the price has been divided by 2, the number of dollars that the bank have for her Bitcoin assets is reduced by a factor of 2. But because the bank have opened a short position, when the price go down, the bank is actually earning a profit on that. And the profit that she's been earning is equivalent to the profit that the bank is losing on her physical assets. And so the total P&L for the bank at the end is 0. The bank didn't earn money, didn't lose money, still have the same amount of dollar at the end of the day. We can also go when the price go up. So now the price double, which is great. And the Alice have still 600k sats. Now the number of dollar, the sats are worth double. So we go from $180 to $360. And she also has the same amount of dollar in her dollar account, but now those dollar can only afford half of the number of sats. So because the price has been going up, now the bank have made a profit on her Bitcoin. Basically, the bank made $120, but she had some amount of sats, price of Bitcoin double, she earned money. But because the bank also opened a short position on an exchange, now the bank have a loss on this position, and the loss is $120. So this is another example where, okay, this time the price of Bitcoin double, but the bank is actually don't have any, whether the price go down, whether the price go up, it's a delta, what we call a delta neutral strategy. The P&L is really 0. The bank is hedged against the volatility of Bitcoin. All right, let's talk about Stablesats for developer now. So we have 2 main repositories for Stablesats. We have a V1 that we start probably a year ago. That is on Galoy Money/dealer, if you want to look at it. And we are currently working on a V2, which is written in Rust. So the first one was written in TypeScript. The second one is written in Rust. It's on Galoy Money/Stablesats-RS. The goal of the rewrite in Rust is to make the Stablesats independent of our stack, such that any other project could run Stablesats, and also any exchange it can be integrated into Stablesats. So it could be used by any type of wallet, even non-custodial wallet, which I think is a key aspect that we want to favor. Currently, the actions that we have integrated are OKX. There is a hackathon project for Bolt.fun to integrate Collider. And the idea is that other actions could be integrated as well in the future. There is a lot of documentation if you want to dive deeper into the mathematics around how this works. I give a high-level overview, but if you go to Galoy/dealer, yeah, you can read about the documentation and have a much deeper understanding of how this is working. What's next, a big feature that we would love to get integrated in is, so if you see the option that we have today with synthetic USD, or the Stablesat as it is today, there is still an exchanges in the loop. The exchanges, again, doesn't have banking access, so maybe it's like more independent to the fiat system than the stablecoin or the dollar system. But there is still an exchanges, and there is still a lot of counterparty risk with the exchanges. And so an iteration that we would love to see, and I know it will happen in the future. The question is when to me, but is already, instead of having this exchange, to use discrete lot contract to say, okay, I'm entering in a position with someone and there is no counterparty risk, in this time, which is awesome, except just maybe there is an oracle or a set of oracle, but it's much more robust than using an exchange that have custody of the fund. So there is two current project ID for the hackathon, an integration with Collider, as I mentioned before, but also there is no marketplace for DLC, which is called HESAT, and an integration between Stablesat and HESAT will make it that you could own dollar equivalent, but you will have almost no counterparty risk, which will be awesome to see. We have 2 sessions next week to dive deeper into building a Bitcoin bank with Galoy next Wednesday at 15 UTC, and a workshop to dive into the code for Stablesats still next Wednesday at 5 UTC, 5 p.m. UTC. If you want to get in touch, the best way is probably, again, the chat.galoy.io to join our MetaMask or join our GitHub with github.com/galoymoney.
Awesome. I just pinged folks in the YouTube stream for any questions that they have. Maybe I'll start with one. Stablesats was announced in, say, August, and now is rolled out in Bitcoin Beach Wallet. Can you speak a little bit about any early feedback, or are we seeing usage? Like, how are you thinking about this since it rolled out?
Yeah, it has been rolled out maybe a month ago publicly to every user of the Bitcoin Beach Wallet. There is definitely more and more users that start to use it. The number of users that use Stablesat versus non-Stablesat is still small, so it's something that people need to understand. And but every day there is more people using it. I think it serves the purpose of lowering the volatility. I saw a tweet yesterday that I think was relevant. Is that there has been, for instance, in Guatemala, some people providing liquidity. So in Guatemala there is a community using Bitcoin. But the idea is that, some of the merchants, maybe they receive Bitcoin, but they need to get dollar because they, again, counter for the volatility. And what the person, I forget his name, but the person was saying yesterday on Twitter is that, okay, we see less demand for helping doing liquidity now for those merchants because Stablesat is here. And so it's a strong correlation that, yes, people are using Stablesats. And we expect more and more usage for it in the future for sure.
Yeah, I think that was Ricky. I saw that tweet, and there's an actually Patrick from Bitcoin Lake mentioned the other day that merchants would, if they had extra cash, they would actually buy inventory, just to almost like invest, just to say, just keep buying inventory if there's extra cash, because they don't want to deal with the volatility, right? If they're receiving Bitcoin, they're going to spend it when they have it to make sure they don't get stuck, not able to buy supplies. But now that they can actually say, oh, I can hold my $100 for my next week's inventory, or for my rent or something like that, I can hold in USD. So it's pretty exciting to see it already kind of taking hold. Let's see. don't think there's any questions in YouTube. I guess one thing I would ask in terms of like Legends of Lightning is what skills would somebody need, or like what team would people might need to build to be successful in like building on Stablesats or doing an integration with Collider or something like that? What type of people or skills would would people need?
Probably to make integration into Stablesat directly, it will be Rust, the code base in the Rust. So yeah, getting Rust knowledge is better. Yeah, I guess it's the main the main aspect. I mean, in our code base, we have also a lot of TypeScript. So if people have a TypeScript knowledge, whether it's on the front end side or the like the GraphQL API level, like this is all done in TypeScript. So TypeScript and Rust, I believe, are the two main pieces. But for Stablesat, it will probably more Rust.
And would they need to actually build on Stablesats to enable USD, or could they build with, say, BBW like API? Could they like access via API if they wanted to do something with like Stablesats or synthetic USD in a project?
Yeah, so there is two ways to think about this. It's either work on Stablesats or use Stablesats to make like a higher level application. If you want to contribute to Stablesats, like it will be in Rust, but if you want to use Stablesats, then there is no need to know about Rust, and this will be more using the GraphQL API. And then you could use any languages, right? As long as you know how GraphQL works, you can make your query and transfer Stablesat, request an invoice that will settle in Stablesat, so some money from your Stablesat account. And for that, there is no need to specifically know code base. You just need to know API or user or GraphQL API, which will be much easier, obviously, to do.
Nice. And then my last question would be, one of the things that you mentioned, and I know that when we announced Stablesats, like Francis and people, the idea of like Stablesats on non-custodial wallet is like is a really compelling, like maybe what needs to happen, or how do you think about that? Like, because I think like the future is like Stablesats is open source, anybody can use it, and or integrate it. So what does Stablesats on non-custodial Lightning wallet need, or are there like other pieces that need to be developed, or what are the challenges with that?
I mean, there is two aspects. I think the big aspect is it really makes sense if you really want to be non-custodial end-to-end to use DLC. So if you use your wallet, I would say non-custodial, meaning you use your own Bitcoin UTXO and you have your Lightning node. If you use an exchange, then you will basically still retain custody for your Bitcoin, but you will not retain custody for the money that you send to the derivative exchange. So, you like half custody, I think. I don't know if it's a good way to think about it, but it kind of is. But then if you want to have your really non-custodial, the integration with DLC market is really what's necessary. And probably we'll see the first aspect first, which is, okay, I can use Stablesats, but I retain the key from my Bitcoin wallet. Like, it's something that still need to be worked out. This will be the first step, and the second step will be indeed to integrate with whether it's HTSAT or some other system.
I was gonna say ItchySats also has a project with Legends of Lightning, so all the pieces are here. Be cool. All right, I think that might do it for us. Any last words? I just dropped a link for anybody listening to the dev site, dev.galoy.io, for anybody that's looking for to kind of hop in and get to know the stack a little bit and the API. Nicolas, any last bits or pieces of advice for folks regarding Stablesats?
I mean, if you want to learn more, come to our chat, come to our workshop next week, and happy to dive into anyone that want to understand how this works.
Right on. I will drop the stream. Thanks everybody for joining, and we'll see you next week.